This is the 9 to 5 game review. It's a video where I review games from the perspective of the 9 to 5 worker. Many reviews that are out there on YouTube come from people who play video games as their full-time job. They can put 100, 200 hours in and explore all the systems and all the details, and then they provide their opinion from that perspective. For many of us who don't have nearly that much time to commit to playing games, we find that our experience doesn't emulate the ones that are portrayed in those online review videos. So what I'm looking to do is provide a perspective that's going to be more in line with what you get out of the game when you can only play for 2 hours at a time or something like that. So in this video, I'll be going over Destiny 2. I have a spreadsheet here where I have identified criteria that help kind of evaluate the game from that perspective. How quick can you get in? How long does it take to learn? Can you exit out without penalties? Things like that I've identified that are useful to understand for somebody who's looking to get a game, but they know they can only play it for so long at a time. They don't want to be bogged down with systems. They don't want to have to learn a lot or commit to things that are not actually fun. They just want to have fun, play a game, enjoy it right away if they can. So I'll get right into the criteria for this. The game is Destiny 2, extremely popular online shooter by Bungie, Activision conglomerate. Current playtime, 135.9 hours, so that's a lot of time. The cost, technically, this game is free to play. It doesn't actually cost anything. However, there's a caveat, which is this game is kind of like World of Warcraft or other MMOs, where yearly or at irregular intervals, they release these massive content packages and they gatekeep other content. And so the real pursuit, if you were to log in and only play free to play, although there is fun that you can have for free, you are limited by many things that the game is pushing players to do, especially since it's a multiplayer game, are locked behind your purchase of that DLC. So bear in mind the true cost of this game to enjoy what it's providing, the things that they've developed anytime recently, it's 99 Canadian dollars. So it goes from being free to one of the most expensive games, even on the market. In the value proposition, I'll get more into the cost of this game, but as far as games go, with regards to monetary gouging policies, this game tries to squeeze and milk as much out of the player as any game ever would. So it's not a cheap game to play. For me, when I played on two separate occasions, one years and years ago, and one for the Lightfall or the Final Shape DLC. Those are the two times I played. Both times I had to purchase the flagship DLC in order to experience most of what the game was actually offering the player at that point in time. So don't be fooled by the price. You're not going to get what you want out of the free-to-play experience, most likely. So for the criteria, time to reward. What does this mean? You boot up the game, how quick is it for you to have fun? Well, if you enjoy hitting your head against a concrete cinder block, then this game is fun right out the gate. If you're sane, then it's going to take you a very long time to deal with so many elements that are extremely cumbersome to navigate. The user interface has been bloated and bloated and bloated over years of this game existing. There's menus within menus within menus that hide critical things for you as a player to even progress through. There's kind of a meta leveling system just for you to be able to utilize basic things like armor upgrades and weapon mods. And the way that you have to achieve that takes you all over the map. These weird historical quests that nobody else is playing. As a single player, maybe there's more hope. But just the prospect of connecting to your friends and trying to participate in the same context, that alone can take you an hour and a half to wrap your head around. And even after you played for a good 5 hours, you're still just slow, you're clunky. It feels like all of the menus are just, your character's just coated in molasses. You want to just do things, and it's not intuitive. So the time to reward is not good at all. This is not a game that you're going to pick up and play, not out the gates. You're going to have to teach yourself, my God, where do I even go? Where is the hub world? What do all these vendors provide? What is a seasonal thing? It's just, it's getting into an MMO for the first time. It's been out for years, and they've never looked at the entire game and overhauled the systems to dumb or squish them down in a simple way. So if you're going to play this game, consider the first 5 days, assuming you only have an hour to play, as just a loss. It's a wash. Honestly, this is as bad as it can get. Bear in mind, I played 130 hours, so the game can be enjoyable. It's got one of the most refined first-person shooter systems that exists because of the money that's pumped into this thing and the resources they have. And once you memorize these complex systems and you become used to navigating to where you need to go, suddenly those are no longer a burden to you and you can enjoy the game. But again, as a new player, this is me giving you warning. If you want to know what to do, where to click, how to level up, where you need to spend your currency, what power level even is, how it affects any of your damage. Like, if you want to know what the hell you're doing, be aware that it's going to take you hours to do so. If you want to know what's going on with the story, God fucking help you. I hear there's a few videos online, 10 hours long each. Those can give you any hope. I never even bothered committing that kind of time. I don't give a shit about the story in this game, but if you do, if I could make a -1 score, then I would. Learning curve. So, time to reward and learning curve in this game go hand in hand. So all of the things that hold you back from having fun are things you have to learn. So you can understand that the learning curve in this game is pretty bad as well. And it's not a learning curve like a strategy game where you need to know skills, where to position yourself to not take damage. The shooting and dodging is the easiest part of this game. If they just put you in and just let you fast travel to points and got rid of all of the fluff and the garbage, it would be a very simple and intuitive game. The most of the learning curve is the worst possible learning curve. It's just knowing where to press to load into a lobby. How do I even find a group to do a raid? You have to just be on Google and you have to watch YouTube tutorials just to figure out how to interact with the basic mechanics of the game. That's horrible. But it's necessary for you to have fun. So I'm going to give this a 2. It's not as bad as, I don't know, it's hard. What's worse, getting into it or learning? They're almost identical. But I'm only giving it a better score than the time to reward because the part of the learning curve that has to do with weapon types, what do my abilities do, how do the enemies interact, the game is not hard to learn from that perspective. So when you evaluate learning curves in a broader lens to discuss not only the user interface, but also the game as a whole, when you combine those two scores, the simplicity of the gameplay diffuses the not simplicity of the user interface. Session flexibility. What does this mean? Well, it means how easy is it for you to load into the game and play and then leave at any moment? Life happens. You don't want to be tied down, especially when you have things to do that are more important, like real life. Hey, honey, my parents are here. Come up and say hello. Sorry, honey, I'm in the middle of the last raid. I'm only 2 hours in, and my 5th member of the fire team keeps dying to the puzzle, so I'm looking for a new guy. I can't come up. That's not a reality that I can live in. I have to be able to get off my desk and go and do things that are more important, and I'm assuming many of you do as well. So in this game, unfortunately, it suffers like MMOs do, where minimum you're locked into maybe a 10-minute play session for the quickest missions and strikes. And then, of course, if you go up to dungeons or raids, that's multiple hours, even when you're good at it. So, again, it's just these things hold games back from the 9-to-5 worker perspective. If you're going to dedicate your life around these games and get a raiding schedule, and this is your primary hobby, and you're willing to commit that kind of time, fill your boots. But many of us are not willing to commit that kind of time to a game, and so it holds the game back. So the session flexibility for this is not good. It takes a while to load in. If you're doing most of the content is multiplayer. And this game is either kind of busy or completely dead. And so it might take you a while to find a group. If you want to find a dungeon or raid, there isn't even a automatic matchmaking system because the game has identified that the content is too hard and punishing. They don't even want players to be able to randomly connect with each other because they don't have faith that players are going to be able to find out how to succeed. So then you have to engage with the player's manual matchmaking system where you apply to groups. And get scrutinized and likely immediately kicked if you're ever invited in the first place. So unless you have friends who are willing to play this game with you, you're just not going to be able to engage with the raids or the dungeons, and those are the flagship content, right? Strikes are pretty fun, but even the higher difficulty strikes you just can't do without having a core group of people that you have either sequestered away or that you've met online, and it just makes it harder for you to get into this game. I've got an hour to play. It's going to take me an hour to find a group. Nothing I can really do with that. So session flexibility is also dog shit for this game. Nobody ever says, hey, you got some time to play? I got 30 minutes. Let's load up Destiny 2. Let's get in a quick instance. That's just not a phrase that's ever been uttered, I don't think. Grind and Tedium. Wow, I'm looking down the tunnel of this game and I'm realizing this is going to be the worst scored game, if it isn't already. But again, it's an okay game for some reasons, but watch other reviews. You'll understand it's almost like a graveyard with a lot of the systems that are in this game now, and you really have to put in the legwork as a player to make the most out of this thing. So Grind and Tedium, what does it mean? Well, the game's a first-person shooter. So you would imagine that, and it's a co-op looter shooter, Borderlands type thing, right? You want to get in, you want to load into a lobby with your friends, and you both want to shoot the ogre, kill it, level up, get stronger, and pick up a better gun and equip it. And you just want to keep doing that. That's pretty much what you signed up for. So the grind would be, does it make me do things other than that just because it wants to try and keep me trapped in this game? And the answer is yes, this game is a grind incarnate. For you to get player power, all of the ways for you as a player to get more powerful do not feel fun. They pretty much removed leveling as a system because that was only relevant in the first non-expansion of the game. Now you pretty much just start at max. So the way that you unlock abilities is no longer, oh, I level up, new ability. No, you have to go back in time and do quests to unlock them when they were introduced in the previous DLC. It's all right. But the game will make you repeat content over and over and over and over and over again just to scrape away. It's designed to just make you play as much as it possibly can. So it doesn't like to reward you with anything significant. And most of the system is you get the same weapon again, but instead of being eye level 290, it's eye level 291. So nothing really feels rewarding. The game almost, even the content that it wants you to do is kind of a grind. There's a bit of novelty. When the expansion first comes out, there's novelty, and the campaign are unique missions, unique assortments of enemies, and unique rewards, and they typically are more generous with the power level amounts that it gives you, 5 at a time, 10 at a time. And then you feel like, okay, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting stronger. Nice. Second the campaign is done and you're in the end game, boom, everything's gone. Strike, replay it 18 times. Come back next week, do one strike, do one fuckaboo, and do one jigglypop. And these are 3 different missions that they've made. Each one of them gives you 1 eye level, and that's it. You start at 200, the max is 220, and it's the average of 12 items, so you need to do 12 of these missions every week, and it's the same thing every single time, and that's what you sign up for. That's a grind. This game is a grind. Is it the most grindy game in the world? No. So it's slightly better than the worst thing you could imagine. Value proposition. How good is the game relative to the cost? Well, theoretically, if you don't buy the DLC, it's completely free. And so even though it's quite unintuitive and tedious, I can't fault a game that you spend nothing on. However, that's only a mask, a veneer. Pull back the curtain, and the game costs a lot of money. $99 minimum, really, to play what the game's actually hoping that you'll play. And for that, it's not worth it. So there's not a lot of content. The content that they do have is only good because the systems they've had are great, right? The player movement is smooth. The jumping is smooth. The traversal of the 3D environments is very polished. The atmospheres look great. The guns feel good. Shooting is very weighty. Fantastic. They've packaged such a great system and they put it in this fucking terrible network of user interface, terrible story, non-existent progression. They've just taken a good thing. People only play this game because it's satisfying. Everything else is fucking terrible. And so with regards to the value proposition, evaluating it from a $99 perspective, oh my god. It's not so bad. You know, it's offering you, it's not, one would be literally as bad as any game could be, and so it's not that. But, you know, you'll play through the campaign, and you'll ask yourself, was this worth $99? You know, think of how many other games are on the market for this price or cheaper, and they don't offer all of the disadvantages that this game does. Memory burden. This one maybe is the only kind of saving grace of this game. All memory burden means is if you played the game and then put it down for a while and you come back to it, how hard is it for you to remember what you're doing? And does it get in the way of you playing and having fun? So you would imagine for this game, when you first bought it, you had to learn, how do I connect to my friends? How do I progress my power? How do I unlock my abilities? What is a good build? What does anything mean? Where do I go? Like, I'm at the tower. Which one of these people do I even care about? Do I dismantle all my gear? What armor upgrades are good? How do I even get them? You figure everything out. Figuring it out, you know, while you're figuring it out, you're not having much fun because you really need all these systems online for you to now go shoot and kill things and have fun. And so when you stop playing, the question is, do you forget how to do all of those things and then have to relearn them? That's the memory burden, because then that's making you relearn the learning curve, re-get to the beginning for the time to reward. You see those 2 terrible scores at the beginning. If you stop it, like I haven't played this game in a year, since the last DLC came out. If I play now, am I fucked? Do I have to relearn it all again? Yes and no. It's not so bad. It's not so incredibly complex that I would forget all of it. I would know how to do most of it, I think. Once I get back into it, I can refresh myself. The new things I would have to learn are just the new content, but that's not that much of a chore. That's most of the appeal. That would be the only reason why I would play, is to experience the novelty of new things, right? But the interfaces, the systems, assuming they haven't fundamentally overhauled them, I feel like I can get back into those pretty quick, and so could you. Core loop satisfaction. This means Get rid of all of the things I just discussed. Assume you're in the game, you're locked in, you're a whiz with the interfaces, you know exactly what you're doing, and so all of those things that hold you back are gone. Is the game fun minute to minute? It is, like I said, it's an amazing package for the shooting and how that feels. But the value proposition reveals some long-term issues. You will lose motivation very quickly. Once you're out of the initial content, like the grind, the campaign, once that's out of the way, it's a grind instantly. And unless you love this game, you're not going to be waiting for the seasonal content to release. You're going to drop this game immediately. And so it's satisfying, but only for so long. So I'm going to give this a 4. There had been moments when everything was going right. There are enough moments. Like I said, I played 130 hours. That came from somewhere. Onslaught, which is like a, is that what it's called? It's like a wave shooter horde mode thing, like Gears of War. That's very fun. Once you get your build online, you find the exotic armor piece and the exotic weapon you want. I played the hunter. I had that sniper that got the golden gun shot with the Nighthawk helmet or whatever it's called. Once I had that, I felt very powerful. I felt very fun. I had a good build where my power weapon was good. I was using it at the right time. I farmed for the right things, and then the content that I did, the strikes, me and my friends, because I didn't have to deal with random people. I got a group of friends who all knew what they were doing, who were all okay at the game like myself. We got in, we felt gratified killing the enemies. The better we did, the better it felt, and the system is very responsive and it feels very fun. So, like I said, it's a great shooter packed in a horrible sandbox. So, if you can survive the punishment, and you have friends who are willing to play for you, maybe it's worth the ride for you, right? But it's very hard to get over that. My personal flex points. Nothing for me here. I would assign negatives if I could. Again, this is not an objective review of the game. This is only a review from the perspective of somebody with limited time to play. You get home, you have an hour to play. Do I recommend that you put it into Destiny 2? Fuck no. So let's now add this to the table of games. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. What's this called? Destiny 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. And then 0, and then I don't have to sort the score because it's in its rightful place at the bottom of the list. Who knows which game will dethrone this as the least exciting game for somebody with limited time to play. Anyway, if you like the format of this video, check out my other ones.